Dan, our fun uncles, we have some questions that we'd like to ask you.
And I'm sure you would like to know the answers also.
Right. Let's begin. We've never moderated before. Who was the first to be cast? Talk about casting the two of us first. That's what
Well, they're two separate, because you were not the first to be cast.
Okay, who was the first to be cast?
Probably Peter, right?
Peter.
Yeah.
Either Peter or Sean, right around the same time.
We definitely, Peter said yes first.
Peter said.
Were they your first choices?
They were yes.
Ah.
They were the only two people that we knew.
Peter and
Peter and Sean.
Peter did good, Sean did.
Were the two people that we knew.
Those two were easy. I think casting the Stark girls was a really tough one because we knew, first of all,
because we knew we didn't know good people like this.
Because they start so young, obviously, and but we knew that they were gonna, if the show worked and kept going for a number of years, they were gonna go to extremely dark places. So it was kind of a tricky thing, casting people and just hoping that they would blossom into the women that they've become. And I remember Dan and I were in Morocco scouting locations, and we could not find an Aria. Aria, we probably looked at 300 different young girls in England, could not find the right Aria. And then we were sitting in this hotel lobby. It was like the one place you could get wireless, and you're looking at the casting videos, and there's a little thumbnail picture of Maisie Williams, you know. And there's just something about that little tiny thumbnail face that, like, it seemed right. It seemed Aria-ish. And
she looked like she was 7. In fact, she was 12 years old, going on 7. She was.
So we clicked on the audition video, and we had to wait about 40 minutes for it to download, and we finally saw her first audition for it, and she was fucking awesome now. So we met her in London when she read again, and she remained awesome, and then we had to find a Sansa, and we ended up, I think, with 3 different candidates, and you did chemistry reads with.
yeah. And this isn't our time to answer questions, but we'll tell you a story anyway. Sophie and I auditioned together. It was my second audition.
It was my last audition.
We auditioned together, and I auditioned with 2 other girls to play Sansa, and was honestly just scared of them both. And then Sophie came in the room and was like so fun and kept giving me high fives and like stroking my head. And I was like, this girl's great. And we got on really well, and it came across on camera, which is good.
Now, so you might notice that Maisie's forearm, there's a little tattoo. Can you explain what that is?
I have a matching one, but it's in peach, so you can't see it.
Trying to tell me something. This is the date that we got the call saying that you would like to cast us in Game of Thrones.
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. Which is the 7th.
The 8th and the 9th.
7th of August, not the...
However you Americans do.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Anyway, speaking of this, which one of us do you like better?
Well, it kind of depends, I think.
What day today? Or like
What day is it?
season?
Is it an odd day or an even day?
No, just be honest, come on.
Here's the nitty-gritty.
Who's best? Maisie's good at fighting.
Yeah, Aria's dangerous.
No, not Aria.
Well, it's not about the
Yeah,
we're talking about Maisie
about
and
Maisie and Sophie now.
Oh, right, definitely Maisie.
Maisie.
Yeah.
Like, great.
We're joking. We love you both. We do. We got very, very
We
lucky.
don't love you.
We got very lucky. You said we're the fun uncles. So
You're just uncles now.
I don't think fun uncle sounds good. That sounds like a euphemism for something.
barely euphemism. It always kind of amazes me, and we talked about this, how lucky we got. Not just that the 2 of them turned out to be such wonderful actresses, but that they, and the other actors in the cast, that we got such a good group of people, because especially when the show became successful, it's so easy for people to get turned by that and become total assholes, and they haven't become that way. And Kit Harington and Alfie, like, everyone has remained pretty great, with one exception. But other than that,
We won't discuss
no.
in a public forum.
No, let's not talk about Nikolai here.
Yeah.
But
He was always kind of the worst.
yeah, he was always.
I just feel it is. It's the kind of, it's not, I know, smallest violin, but it's not an easy situation. The situation you guys have stepped into, it can be a difficult situation to navigate when all of a sudden this blows up the way it did for you, and you both completely weathered it and navigated it in a very impressive way.
Thanks, guys.
No mean jokes, no nothing. It's just, it is very, and on the acting side of things, on the performance side of things, it's just to watch you guys become the actors you've become has been very gratifying for us. And also we feel very fortunate because if you weren't the actors that you are, we would have fired.
If you weren't the writers and creators that you are, we would have been fucked.
I know, really right. I mean, right.
We've seen you develop over the years too.
Except we're getting worse.
It's deteriorating.
Yeah.
But it's, you know,
It is, we're going to get decrepitude.
You could have easily become Biebers and you didn't, so that's good.
then you'd be ready.
It's a Bieber-free zone.
Going back to casting, who was the most difficult person to cast and who was the easiest person to cast?
Did we already talk about the role?
Yes.
You were the most difficult.
Yeah, we already discussed that.
Yeah. The easiest person to guess. The first video that I clicked on was Mark Addy's Robert Baratheon video. And you know, there's a whole page, and I clicked at random on this. I didn't even know who it was. I just clicked on the one in the middle of the page. And his first take of his first audition tape was perfect. And I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. This is great. Look, he just completely nailed it. And that was the only time that ever happened. The only time the first person that we watched was the one. So.
Wow.
Mark was easiest.
All right, on to the next. Okay, this is actually really interesting for us because we don't remember anything from this. So can you recall any funny stories during the pilot shoot?
Well, we were just talking about this backstage. When we wrapped on the pilot, we didn't know if the show was going to get picked up or not. So, you know, we worked on it for a long time, and there was a very good chance that it would not get picked up, actually, because, you know, we made a lot of mistakes in the pilot. And I remember you two guys sobbing in the Winterfell courtyard set. And I remember saying, we're going to come back, it's going to happen. And meanwhile, I was lying, I had no idea. But there were these two crying girls, and you had to say something, so...
We were such Debbie Downers, that was the rap party, everyone was partying.
Right.
And then when we did the rap party for season 1, and they weren't legal age yet to drink, and so we said, you can't actually come to the rap party, guys, but we're going to have a special at the McDonald's in Belfast. We're going to have like a special kiddie party. And
a happy meal.
Any other fun stories from the pilot that don't include us? Because honestly, we don't remember much. Like you guys had a whole other life.
So your mother was recast between the pilot and season 1. Catelyn Stark was recast. So we had a weird thing where in the feast hall scene in Winterfell, Sansa is talking to. It's when you meet Cersei, and she's asking you, "Have you bled yet?" Like it's a really awkward moment.
Yeah.
And Sophie's half of it had been shot a year earlier for the pilot, and then we had to shoot the other side on Michelle Fairley, who played your mom in season 1. And meanwhile, you've gone from being about 12 to like 23 in the last 12 months. So the weird thing about the pilot was everyone got so much older, even though it was only a year. Like Kit looked like a little boy when we shot the pilot, and then he became.
There was a scene from the original pilot that we were going to use because Kit was very good in it. And Peter was very good at it, but when we looked at the footage and we looked at Kit's, we just looked at photos and hanging out with Kit, you know, a year later, he looked 6 years older.
Wow.
And he was clean shaven, so he looked like he was 12.
There's a scene in the pilot that might be the worst scene we've ever written. It's probably the most embarrassing scene anywhere, where it's the guys, the Stark boys and Jon Snow and Theon, and they're all kind of shaving each other. They're getting their haircut by Tommy Dunn, actually. And it's a really weird scene. They're all shirtless, and it's kind of like, wait, why is this scene? And the only reason that scene is in there is because there was no continuity between scenes in the pilot. The beards were all different between when we shot.
To explain why.
So there's
blonde picture, and had like no facial hair.
Yeah. So they're all standing around, and if you look closely, you can tell that they're all flexing because they're shirtless. And they all want to like flex their abs.
I remember that day. They were all just sitting there doing crunches all day, doing every take.
I remember that the day before Alfie had starved himself with water.
Yeah, so had Richard. They'd all been like obsessive over it. Paid off though, right guys? Paid off.
Yeah.
Talk about your writing process. We've just come to the end of shooting season 7. How would you then go into shooting season 8? Do you do a whole outline first, or do you
outline first?
Put episodes between each other and do that? What would you?
Writing process.
Writing process. So we have 2 other writers on the staff, Brian Cogman and Dave Hill. The 4 of us get together in a room. We kind of break down the upcoming season, and then we split up and write different sections of the outline. We have the last one we'll ever do for season 8, which is kind of sad. And yeah, so we have a 140-page outline for, it's only going to be 6 episodes for the final season, and then we divvy up the episodes. Dave Hill will write the season premiere, Brian Cogman episode 802, and then we'll write the other 4. And yeah, Dan and I just pick halves. We kind of fight over who gets to write which half, like who gets to kill.
This was the only time.
Right.
We both wanted to kill Sansa so badly. This was the only time. Usually we pick. It was always a very kind of. It took 2 minutes to divide the halves. This time was 18 back and forth emails about. Well, I'll take this scene if you take that scene, because we realized it was the last time we were going to actually be doing this for the show.
Oh wow. And so what happens?
You want to know?
Sansa dies.
Yeah, but you guys can't tell anybody. It's only like
Should we just tell everybody now? Then we don't have to. It's a lot of work to shoot this. It's like 300 shooting days. We could throw all that away and just tell people what happened.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Less money too.
Yeah. Can we split the money 4 ways?
I'm down.
I'm down.
It would be great though, before season 8, we got these photographs right before we started shooting season 7. One was of Sophie with her hair like all, she's supposed to be a redhead on the show.
Yeah.
And we get a picture of her and she looks kind of like Paris Hilton or something. Like her hair is all frizzed with white and we're told we can't dye it red because it will fall off. Literally, that's what kept it.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, that's kind of annoying. And then we get a picture of Maisie, like 2 days
What
before we
color
start
is your
shooting.
hair?
Turquoise.
Turquoise.
Yeah.
Turquoise.
But who's got brown hair now and who's still got blonde hair? She's dead.
Anyway, it'd be awesome if you guys.
Okay.
They're not going to tell anyone, so it's cool. It all stays within the room.
Amongst friends.
Yeah. I know each person individually.
Yeah. Hibbard. Where are you, James? Oh, there he is.
Alright guys, enough of the joking. Talk a bit about why you think Game of Thrones characters resonate so much with the audience. Because some are beloved, some are so hated, and some of the fans just love to hate. Of course, they both love our characters. I mean, they love both our characters.
I think since you 2 play the characters, you should talk about it. You know better than we do. Why do people love Maisie so much and I mean Arya so much and despise Sansa so much? I don't get
You invited us onto this thing. What is it?
No, but it's a really good question, but I'm more curious to know.
No, we're curious to know what you think.
Yeah, come on, with moderators.
Well, I think it's different for every character, right? I mean, there's something about Arya. Arya's a rebel, and I think people are drawn to people who rebel against whatever the societal
And
strictures
dye their hair
are.
turquoise.
Huh?
And dye their hair turquoise.
She dyed her hair turquoise. That's her. And so that one makes sense. For me, though, Sansa, to be honest here, like completely honest, like Sansa, even in the books, I remember like book readers would always kind of hate Sansa, or a lot of them would. And to me, I always loved her because she seemed like a real person. Like she's really annoying sometimes, and she's like a stuck-up teenager sometimes. But you know, lot of us were annoying teenagers at one point, and she just seemed really believable. And also she goes on, to me, one of the most interesting journeys, because she doesn't start out as someone who's really sharp and shrewd and tough, but she becomes that person. Arya is kind of always there, you know, which is great, and that's what's great about Arya, but Sansa had to get there by painful experience, and she's always honestly been one of my favorite characters.
I think Sansa has to face, in a way, harder choices than Arya. I mean, Arya, there's always a pretty clear path, like what's the cool, badass thing to do, and I'm going to do that thing. That's always what Arya does. Sansa's choices, I think, are, in a way, feel more real and maybe resonate more with people's real, kind of not black or white, but gray experience, where there's not any easy decision I have to make here, and anything I do is going to have difficult, negative consequences, and I'm going to make those choices, and I'm going to own the choices that I make. So I feel, and I think that initially it was always, there was the kind of the fun sister and the less fun sister, but I think as it's gone on season after season, to me, I feel like you guys are probably at parity now. Like you guys are probably in the same place in terms of like overall love. You know? I mean, you could ask these people. Queen of the North.
Thank you very much.
Season 1, nobody would have been like Queen of the North.
No, it was like, you're a fucking bitch. But we got there in the end, so it's okay.
How difficult is it for you guys to say goodbye to characters? Has there ever been a time when you've written a death scene for someone and then taken it out of that season and put it into the next season because you just can't give that actor?
That did actually happen. Most of the main, like you guys, we've always known, but it happened. Noah Taylor was on the show season 3 and 4. Started in season 3, and he had a death scene in season 3. He was gonna, in the bear pit scene, Brienne, was it Gwen or Nikolai that was gonna Nikolai was gonna throw Noah Taylor's character into the bear pit, and we were gonna have him mauled by the bear. And we decided, after working with Noah and hanging out with him for a while, that he should stay on. And we realized that he was too much fun to waste, so we kept him alive. But by and large, we generally know it hasn't happened that often. Yeah.
Killing Momoa sucked though, because Momoa.
That was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to, like, it's such a classic death from the book, so there's no way to change it. But it was really fun. Jason's just, you know, larger than life figure, and so never totally recovered from getting rid of him.
Certainly larger than me figure.
Yeah. Is that why you brought him back for that?
Pretty much, yeah. So we can hang out with him as well.
Yeah, I
we have a fun weekend.
Where he broke my hand, but
yeah, he broke his hand.
You broke your hand?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Tell us about it.
So, we're in a restaurant in Belfast with Amelia.
Yeah.
And who? And Alfie.
Alfie, yeah, and Jason Momoa.
And Jason.
Things not to do while drinking in Belfast.
What was the game? It's like the slap game.
Yeah.
Or is it the one where
you played that with Momoa?
This game.
That was just
it seemed like a really good idea.
We were having a lot of fun and laughing, and it was funny. And then I remember looking at David, and I said, "Hey, dude, look at your hands." And his hands had already started to swell up. Because Jason is 250 pounds and so fast.
Yeah, that's the problem. I was like, oh, he's big, but I bet I'm quicker. But
so
fast.
And then didn't you have to go home?
Yes. So I went home. I've been away from home for about a month. Yeah, I have a baby. My wife's taking care of the kids with no help from me. I come limping in the door, and my hand is swollen up like a catcher's mitt. And she's like, "What the fuck is that?" And I said, "Oh, I was playing the slap game with Jason." And she was just so disgusted with me. And she's like, "Well, we gotta get to the hospital." And she took me to the emergency room. And the doctor in the emergency room did the x-rays and all. And she said, "Oh yeah, your friend squished your hand." That was the medical.
Medical term for this is squish. I think as writers, we could have come up with a better story.
Yeah. So anyway, don't play the slap game with Jason Momoa.
Life lessons.
That's why you really got rid of him, isn't it? So you could be the tallest man and the biggest man in the car.
Far from it, though. Look at
that's right, he's built the mountain. No.
Off floor.
Right. Oh yeah, strongest man in the world. By the way, if you could bring one person back, Who would it be? I'm just throwing in my ad-lib.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you're modeling as a moderator.
You watch when you develop.
Character or actor?
Actor.
Actor. Then character.
Who would people like to, I mean,
Hold on.
Oh, there we go. Jason.
Hodor's needed his own prequel spin-off series.
It's a multicam sitcom.
I miss your mom. I mean, Michelle Fairley is just one of the great actresses, and also
And Jack Gleason. Miss Jack.
Yeah.
Excellent. He's the anti-Joffrey in real life. He's an excellent human being.
Good answer. Right.
You pass.
You pass. Check.
Thanks, man.
Talk about the practical jokes you've pulled on the actors. And what's been your favourite or toughest to pull off? And have any failed?
The easiest pull-off was when we wrote a scene for Kit Harington where his face melted off. And so he thought, because there's a scene in the first season where he fights with a white and the white catches on fire and he burns his hand, but we rewrote the script so that his face actually melts off.
Was his upper lip, he was brushing his upper lip.
But he's going to have to be like a prosthetic.
And all of his hair, we burned off all of his hair.
Yeah. And Kit's got great hair, and he's very proud of it.
Wonderful pout.
And he's got a great pout. And so the script and the page described exactly what his mangled face was going to look like forever. And
we told him
he was a good sport about it. You could tell he was really, really sad.
It was good acting. He was trying so hard to not show how brutally disappointed he was. We had a whole story about how HBO thought that he felt too Disney. He felt too Harry Potter, and he was just too clean. They wanted to ugly him up a little. We had a routine, and we gave him the routine. And he bought it for a while until I think we started laughing.
That's right. I ruined it. I blew it. Then sometimes we write real scenes that actors think are scams, like when Sansa has to sing in season 2, and Sophie did not want to sing.
That wasn't a scam, you made me sing.
No, I know, but you thought it was. You were like, is this a prank? And now you're so okay with singing in public that you guys are willing to sing a Bieber song for us. Right now.
Yeah, we're running out of time. Wait, but have any failed? Have you had any failed attempts at practical jokes? Has anyone caught you? This is going to be
Bradley's worked. We have John Bradley because he's wearing the same costume. My favorite one was probably that he's wearing the same costume, you know, and it's just walking around in the same costume. He goes to a new place, so he was going to have a new costume, and we had the costume designer. We said just pull the most ridiculous, like Henry VIII, like crap you can find off the rack from whatever.
Giant codpiece.
Yeah, a codpiece, like a glittery codpiece. It was like a pinkish codpiece.
Yeah.
And then when you go into when he goes to the costume fitting, just put this on him and take the pictures the way you do with every year with every costume for the fitting. And he was such a good sport about it, but his face in the costume fitting pictures is my favorite. It's my favorite image from the show. Is just John's face. Like long-suffering, like trying hard to smile face, where he's got a codpiece the size of like a loaf of bread strapped onto his crotch.
That was a really amazing photo. And props to April as well.
Yes.
Who was our costume designer that season, who 83, and you guys in the middle of such a busy schedule, having to like pack in hundreds of extras to dress, she managed to make that terrible costume.
Absolutely.
John.
Have any of the cast members ever gotten you back?
Nikolai did actually.
What did he do?
What did he
do? With his hair, he convinced us that he'd shaved his head.
Yeah, see, as you can tell from the earlier thing about their dyeing their hair a week before we started shooting, the actors are supposed to look more or less the same between seasons because there's not a lot of time off and he was getting annoyed because, or he said he was getting annoyed because he wanted to get a haircut, and we hadn't approved anything. It's like, guys, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to cut my hair. And he sent us a picture, and he had shaved his head. He was like, looked like a skinhead. And this was a couple weeks before we were supposed to start shooting. And I'm like, oh, now we're going to have to get a fucking Prince Charming wig thing. And we're so angry. We're like,
lawyers got into it. HBO's lawyers were calling his agents.
It turned out he'd taken a picture from like 5 years ago of him with his head shaved and sent it, and we were, so he got us back.
I think you guys should bring it though. This is the last chance. You guys should see what you got.
Alright.
I mean, it's more hassle for you than it is.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time.
No, bring a prank, not to shave your
Not shave your
Alright. Oh. Next question. Oh, yes. Are there any props or costumes that you are planning on stealing from the set once the show's done?
Yes.
No.
And you probably can't announce it, but go ahead.
Realize all the people who make movies and television, you go in their offices, their homes, they've got all this great stuff.
Yeah. Do you have anything yet?
They've stolen all that stuff. It's not their property.
Not that I've stolen. I have a lot of storyboards that Will Simpson gave us.
Stuff
That was a gift. I definitely want a sword. I don't know which.
Yeah, we'll get swords.
Is it stealing if you technically created it?
I think
See, that's
theoretically it belongs to HBO, but I don't know. Ask Mark.
I don't know.
Mark.
That sounds very theoretical. I'm not a theory person. I feel like those swords, we should have some of those swords.
Which would you have?
Ooh, it's tough.
Oathkeeper, right?
Oathkeeper's a good one. Ice is a good one.
Ice is a good one. I always love ice. Really
Mountain sword is pretty impressive because it's like 8 feet tall.
Long claws.
Needle's nice. Long claw's cool.
Yeah. Needle.
So that really narrows it down.
You know,
We're gonna take all of the swords.
oh, you know what's a really nice one actually is the Tarley family sword.
Yeah.
Heartsbane.
The who?
Heartsbane is the Tarley family sword. We've had the same armor from the pilot Tommy Gunn, who's Tommy Gunn, who's amazing, and the Tarley sword is beautiful.
Talk about the inclusion of musicians over the past few years. Do you always agree on who you're going to recruit to be on the show?
Usually we've only had people that we both agree on for the most part.
Has anyone ever suggested someone and the other one's been like, no way?
No, not really. I don't think so. It's mostly, a lot of it has to do with who's, a lot of people say they would like to do it, and we tell them, this is so boring.
Yeah.
You're going to hate this. You're going to be sitting around for 3 days for 12 hours. And like Sigur Rós came on the 4th season, remember, at your wedding? Not your wedding, the wedding you were at.
No.
And after, so Jonsi, the lead singer of Sigur Rós, he goes out, he does his like hero bit, he does his action, his close-up stuff. And then he's like, can I go home now? We're like, oh no. you're in 1,700 shots for the next 3 days. And by the end, he was
so done with it.
He was so done. He was done after his close-up. And he was a super good sport about it. Like he hung out and he did it all. He was a good sport, but
sometimes you guys see, like we knew that Maisie was a big fan of Ed Sheeran, so for years we were trying to get Ed Sheeran on the show so we could surprise Maisie. And this year we finally did it. Ed, and was he fun?
Yes, it was very good fun.
And sometimes Dan's a big metalhead, so sometimes
I sneak in metalheads around.
Mastodon.
I said Mastodon. Those guys have done it twice. They're great guys. Yeah, Mastodon.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on Bieber,
Wait on Bieber.
waiting on Bieber.
Season 9.
Yeah. Okay. Onwards and upwards, I suppose. Okay, we think we work on the most complex series ever, but is that true? How many crew are there on a normal day?
Normal day 763. Some days we go up to 842. I don't actually know. Yeah. Every day is different.
Conviction is
I know, just gotta sell it. Every day is different. But I don't know. My guess would be that it is, you mean logistically in terms of how many people, my guess would be that that would be true, but I don't know.
last year or the year before? This is one we just did?
I think it's season
I
6.
think we've had it a couple times. The first season we had it, I remember asking where, it was when Bran was being chucked out the window and it was in a crane. So I knew there was a crane set up somewhere and a stunt Bran was all dressed up and we could do bungee off the crane. I said, where's Bran getting chucked off the crane? They said, Unit D. I was like, what the hell is Unit D? and that's how I found out we had a 4th unit.
Wow.
We had, in this year, there were 3 visual effects units operating simultaneously for like 2 months.
And in how many different countries this year?
So Northern Ireland, Spain, not Croatia, Spain, Iceland, and Canada.
Canada. That's amazing.
Which house would you identify with the most?
I think the Greyjoys have the coolest city.
Yeah. The Tyrells have a lot of nice stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna...
Surely everyone would want to say Stark, though. I mean, we have...
It does seem a little popular to say Stark, yeah, so...
Well, you don't want to be too mainstream.
Like the Umbers have a cool city.
Who's the one with the turtle?
Oh yeah.
I think we cut
Maybe you guys made fun of it.
Which we made fun of in season 1, but you...
We
cut it out. We cut it out.
Oh, wait, what?
Remember in season 1
At the joust.
when we were at the joust?
There was a turtle and we lost the turtle.
It's also that these are your childhood memories. Like, remember when we were at the joust and we
The joust. But who do you identify with the most in terms of, like...
Yourself.
Oh, the Lannister stuff.
Yeah, I see that. So really,
We want to win.
Actually,
that?
this
We
is...
want to win.
is that a spoiler? Oh.
You heard it here first, guys. Don't go anywhere. Back the after break.
James Hibbert, you better be writing this down. Well, that's disappointing then. If you could write for one other show, what would it be? Assume you would do
Assuming you do a good job.
Assuming
you do a good job, right?
that, but
Because you
I would
probably
also say,
fuck up.
I would
assuming
definitely fuck it up.
Atlanta, I would say, but I would do a shit job of running for Atlanta. If you're assuming that I would do a good job, then I would maybe say Atlanta.
Alright, what about It's Always Sunny? You guys made a
Always
good
Sunny.
We've already done that.
We've already done a shit job there. That's
Yeah, did you write for that though?
We did?
Yeah.
You did?
Yes.
Ooh, nerdgasm, right guys?
A little Wikipedia research would have uncovered.
Were you even familiar? Do you know what grime was before you met us?
No.
I still don't.
I think most of these people don't know what grime is, do they? Who knows what grime is? Okay, see? Fewer people that know master.
It's just bad English rap, right?
It's
No,
not
it's
bad
good,
English
it's
rap.
good.
It's actually quite polite.
Have we taught you nothing?
Widely skepta, it's good.
Wiley, Skepta, Stormzy,
Jamie?
Jamie. Anyway, guys, pointless.
I think it's gonna blow up now, I really do.
What's
You
that?
guys, I think grime's gonna blow up now, I think you guys do.
Yeah, now that we've announced it. Here, you had this in first as well. South by Southwest, right?
Watch the Spotify charts, it's gonna
Yeah. Alright, describe the most significant way in which getting to know us has made you better people.
Well, I have 2 daughters, and I hope that they grow up to be as smart and lovely as you 2 are, so I think it's good having seen, my girls aren't yet, they're 10 and 6, and I think when we first cast you guys, you were like 13 and 12, so sort of, I've been dreading the teenage years for a long time, I think as any father does, but I've seen 2 young women who grew up really, really well under difficult circumstances, not difficult in terms of, not starving or anything, but circumstances which have made other young people into monsters, and you 2 have somehow avoided it, so it's been good for me to watch that, and watch you 2. Whatever, if I keep talking like this, you're just going to make fun of me and say, well, we've got to watch you develop into old.
No, I was going to say we all our fun uncles.
Yeah, you're a fun
have fun.
That was actually really sweet. I didn't expect you to give us a straight up answer like that, so thank you.
I know I've been insulted so much, I just don't know exactly. It's too old to understand the Florida tone. Yeah.
I'm definitely dying.
I feel like we should answer Mark Engelberg's question because he's got the most popular question, which is it possible to have a dragon White Walker? Maybe.
Wow.
It'd be pretty cool looking, but it would also be sad.
But how's it gonna walk?
It's got legs.
White flyer.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I don't know if it really goes with the mythology to have a dragon White Walker, because
It's gonna crush that horse. It's gonna crush that White Walker horse because it's so big.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Now there's got to be a new most popular question because Mark's done. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen here. I'm not being insane. All right, go back to you guys.
Alright, don't worry, we've only got 2 more left.
Oh, perfect.
The show's demographic skews considerably younger than that of the average HBO show. How is that possible, considering you're both so fucking old?
Luckily, we're both old and extremely immature. So I feel like
The funniest thing about that question, Maisie, is that Dan wrote it.
What?
True story.
I thought my laugh was convincing. I was like, laughing convincingly like I'd never heard that question before. I was trying out my
It was for them, not for you, Dan.
How was it? Was it good?
Nice.
What do you
It's
give
good.
me?
Got a good laugh.
B plus, B minus.
Did a good job. Right.
I'm blossoming, I'm developing.
You're developing and it's beautiful to watch. What will the best line of dialogue be next season and who speaks it?
You mean season 7 or season 8?
Season 7.
Season 7.
Best line of dialogue. Probably Tyrion. I don't know.
What does he say?
Something witty. You can just have Peter, you can just like
He has some
write some crap line and Peter makes it funny. I don't know.
I don't know why you're struggling with this question because you also wrote this question too.
Yeah, why are we starting with that question?
I think we planned on coming up with a fun answer and then forgot about it. Immediately after we were.
Yeah, I think we did.
We'll take another.
Audience questions.
Oh, John F's question's pretty good.
John F.
Who's your favorite death?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Who is your favorite death?
This isn't about us, David.
Well, yeah, come on, you're moderating, you can...
Okay.
I have always loved Viserys melting.
Yeah, that was
Oh, that was great.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Satisfying.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I like that one too. I liked Pedro's death.
Yeah.
yeah.
The Viper.
The Viper. I thought that was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And Joffrey, I thought Joffrey's death, we ended up going back, we shot Joffrey's death, you know, in Croatia in that scene. We ended up going back to LA for 2 days to do just some pickups on Jack's face because we felt like we hadn't taken it far enough. We got Rob Botan, one of the greatest visual effects, or special effects makeup guys in the history of the business, and he agreed to come out and help us out for 2 days, and he just all the gruesome fine details that he put in there I thought were really, really great.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
And then who can forget Ramsay's death? And the walk away, you know, we were shooting at night, and I remember I standing next to Miguel, our director, for that episode, and the final shot of the episode is Sophie walking towards camera, kind of smiling at the very end of the walk, and I think we made you do it like 14 times.
Yeah, it was like a whole day.
Yeah, by the end of it, you're just sort of walking by and something like that to me. And then you nailed it, though.
And Walter Frey, right? He cut his throat, that was nice.
Yeah.
That was cold.
Thank you.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cold-blooded.
Sir Marin Trant was a good, right? Who can forget
I think Sir Marin Trant was probably our most expensive death.
Speaking of fun uncles, Sir Marin Trant.
Yeah.
Wait, why was his the most expensive?
Because all of the horrible things Maisie was doing to him were all, they
didn't really
do them with
happen.
makeup. Yeah.
But she wasn't allowed to really poke out his
Couldn't
eyes.
poke out his eyes.
Oh.
So
Like
every time you see him, you're into
you ever find yourself in real-life situations speaking as the characters in the show do? Why not?
Oh, God's be true.
So that's a yes. Hodor.
I actually did find myself saying once, I know this question isn't for me, but I did find myself, I said something like, I said, oh, thank the gods. And then I called myself and I was like, no, thank God.
You do say contra rather loud.
No, I don't.
I feel like it's really...
I do say it a lot. But that's not from the, like...
You didn't make it.
You don't know that, though.
No, we're British. Everyone says cunt.
You're bringing cunt back.
Anyway, Anonymous says, what characters would you like to see on screen together that so far haven't crossed past the last few seasons, or ever, for that matter?
How did Anonymous jump the line? He's only got 3 thumbs up, and poor Caleb has 27.
There's someone backstage who's selecting them.
That was a really nice review.
I just feel bad for Caleb because he had 27 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to Caleb after, but
right.
now we should answer.
Who would you guys like to see get together?
No, stop. Come on.
Oh, right. Who would we like to see together?
No,
Jon
us.
Snow and Khaleesi?
Obviously.
It seems kind of obvious, though. I feel like we should avoid doing that because, like, you know, right?
How can you just think like
No,
we're
it's
great?
Cersei and Sansa again.
What about Arya and Sansa? I feel like Arya
that's also
slaughtered.
yeah. I'm trying to come up with
She'll
something.
probably just kill you, though.
Come up with something interesting.
Anyway, moving on.
Caleb
asks, what impact do you think Game of Thrones has had on the portrayal of women in TV?
Ladies.
That's not how it works.
It is kind of, it can work that way. There's a reason it couldn't work.
You probably know better than we do. You're the actresses. You have to tell us.
Yeah, but how do you think that it's changed? Have you watched another show and been like, we started that?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't. Yeah, I don't know. How has it changed things for women in TV?
It's a big question.
It is a big question. It seems like you could spend a whole hour.
Which any answer we made up would just
Well, you
I
want
mean,
to
it's
speak
part of
in
the
this
movement,
question.
isn't it? It's part of a big movement where there are more. Yeah, you guys pick this.
I mean, and this comes from, even from when we read the books initially, like we realized, you know, it's an awful world that the story takes place in, but there were more, in George's books, were more compelling female characters who had agency, who were out there, you know, they weren't secondary to anybody, they weren't anybody's like right-hand woman or wife. They were out there and they were had their own storylines in this world. There were more of them than any show we'd ever seen. Now, obviously, they're like The Sopranos had amazing female characters, lots of definitely. I think it seemed like a very actress-centric show before we even started the source material. So that was, you know, that was a fun thing for us, and it was appealing to us from the beginning.
Yeah. Good job. Right, craziest thing to happen on the set of Game of Thrones. Wow, what's the craziest thing?
Well, every year something collapses.
Yeah.
There was in Malta, the whole set flew into the sea, and it's sort of a hurricane.
Was that in Malta? I think that was in Belfast.
Isn't that Stone Arch, the Acer window?
Yeah, that just collapsed. We weren't there, so that was good. There was a rock slide in Castle Black, which didn't hurt anybody, luckily. But
oh, that's right.
Yeah, Castle Black is on the bottom of a giant quarry cliff and started to collapse.
And the span was like a 300-foot green screen that blew over.
Oh yeah. That's a nice bit. Right?
Yeah.
Health and safety is going to be on our ass next year.
The crazy things that we see.
I
Nothing we
remember,
want to talk about.
I'm not sure if it was the pilot or in season 1, to get the reaction from Isaac, you guys faked that something went wrong on set, so as he would look scared to watch a beheading.
We didn't do that. Someone did that, yeah.
No, that was Alfie. And it was when they were beheading, who was it? They were beheading someone. Oh no, it was, is it Wayne?
Will. Will was the character's name.
Bronson Webb.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were beheading him, and then they decided that Alfie would scream, "Call the medic!" And they kept shooting on Isaac, and he was just
Except we
kind of
didn't
like...
end up using any of it because all Isaac did was look to his mom.
Oh, really?
He was standing right up, which is not the right direction for him to be looking, but his mom was standing there, and he looked to how he looked to his mom.
Wow.
Rendering the shot
That's so brutal.
What is your favorite TV show other than God? Maisie, Sophie?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Nice.
I just started watching The People vs. OJ.
Oh, yeah, no, it's in the Bible.
With great Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson vehicle.
Well, yeah, Rick and Morty is
Great one.
Oh, yeah.
Love Atlanta, love Adventure Time.
Well, you guys have
Watch a lot of
watch
cartoons.
BoJack
Yeah.
Horseman?
Haven't seen that yet.
What about Archer?
Like we only watch cartoons.
Dan Harmon is here at South by Southwest. Are you going to try to talk to him about writing for it? We're not funny enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's not going to work.
That's not true.
We don't want to ruin Rick and Morty.
Name each of your proudest God moments.
I'm really proud that I moderated a panel.
That you're moderating a panel, so is it? Oh, that's good. I didn't hear you. Old.
Moderation.
My ear turned. What about you, Sue?
Actually, it's kind of like, it's so serious. It's what came out of doing one of the Game of Thrones scenes, was like the scene after Ramsay's wedding night. That kind of, like, I'm quite proud of what that brought about, and it led to a discussion about the taboo of rape, and it turned me into kind of an activist for that, so I'm really proud of having done that and been able to portray it on screen. Yep.
With so many...
Well done. The proudest Game of Thrones.
Oh,
That's fun. That's good. That's good.
We're just the mere moderators, Maisie.
With so many cast and crew.
No, we were asking you what your proudest moment
Game of
was.
Thrones moment.
Did you not
stutter?
We were taught that we were raised to believe pride is a sin. We really try to avoid it at all costs. I don't have an answer for that. There's been so...
I mean, you should be proud of the
There's been so many moments that I just felt, I don't know if it's pride, but when I remember the first time we were in Iceland and we stepped out onto the glacier to shoot this thing, and there were all these people with their crampons on, like clawing their way over the ice. And it was freezing, and it was beautiful, and it was sort of a peak moment where you felt like everything had, a bunch of very, very improbable circumstances had fallen into place in a way to put you in this very unlikely, beautiful, amazing place with all these amazing, beautiful people. That,
Wow.
you know, that's what it's not pride so much as sort of gratefulness that this actually happened.
Yeah. What about you, Dave?
I guess I'm just really happy that we've managed to somehow keep everyone together. I mean, it's hard on a series that goes for any length of time to keep all the cast, and especially with us, we have such a huge cast, and we really haven't lost anyone. I think partly it's because you guys get paid so much, but I think it's, it's good because this story, it's not the kind of story where every season you start and you're trying to come up with another, like, okay, what are we going to do this year? Like, we've had from the beginning a sense of, from the very first time we pitched this show to HBO, we want to tell one, basically a 70-hour movie. It's going to turn out to be 73 hours, but still it's stayed relatively the same in terms of the beginning, the middle, and now we're coming to the end. And it would have been really tough if we had, lost any of the core cast members along the way. And so I'm very happy that we've kept everyone together and we get to finish it. the way we want to.
Particularly as you've like lost characters and then reintroduced them later on in the series. So it's very nice of you.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Now the questions replaced with our names.
I guess you don't want to hear from us anymore.
I feel like we're losing the audience, guys. We have to like perk things up a little bit, give them some big spoilers.
I have to speak up, I'm getting old.
Someone's holding up a laptop over there. What
Okay,
does
what
that
does
say?
that say?
What does it say?
A picture for the... A photo for the fans in Egypt? Oh, did we just do it?
We just do it. Hi, fans in Egypt.
Oh, look, it's back. All right. We'll do a picture for the fans in Egypt momentarily.
With so many cast and crew, how do you keep links to a minimum? Right, our names are all over it.
Intimidation and murder.
Yeah, it's virtually impossible to really, I mean, you look at what's happening now just with, you know, the CIA can't keep information private. How are we gonna
What chance do we have?
So, you know, whenever stuff comes out, it's kind of like season 1, there were 10 million people out there who had all the spoilers about Ned's death in a fucking book, and somehow the season still worked, so...
And the Red Wedding, 3 years later, there were still people watching who didn't know that this was coming, so...
So I'm the kind of viewer or reader, I just don't want to know about stuff, and so it's always weird to me that people want to find out. Like, I understand there's curiosity, but I'm not someone who reads the last page of a book first, because just in case I die before I finish. Like, I want to be surprised by things, so I just kind of go on the assumption that a lot of people are like me, and then people who are desperate to find out everything beforehand, they're probably going to find a way to do it, and that's, you know, that is what it is. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Ivan Drago loses at the end of Rocky. Sorry.
All right. Well, since we've only got 2 minutes left, maybe we'll look towards the future. What kind of projects would you like to do after Game of Thrones?
I've got this project I've been planning called Sitting in a Cool, Dark Room for 2 months.
Isn't that a Game of Thrones?
I'm working on it. That's a freezing dark room.
Yeah, you're right.
I want cool, I don't want freezing. We've discussed things, but honestly, this show is such a 24/7 job that we have time to think about thinking about it. And as soon as we go deeper than that, we realize we have 18 things that we really ought to be doing other than thinking about what's coming up.
Are you going to continue writing together?
Yeah.
Or has this been enough and you're going to go?
No. The uncles couldn't leave each other, could they?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I mean,
Just keep the fun uncle party going.
Keep the party going.
that sounds like a really creepy party.
So do not go to the fun uncle party.
We were talking about this, we all had dinner last night, and we were all saying that that we should all go do different things, because there's always going to be an urge. Well, you'll both be dead, but for the characters who maybe will survive, and there's always going to be like this temptation to keep doing it and do like the spin-off show or do the sequel show and everything. And I think HBO might well do one, and I'm looking forward to watching it. I think it'll be great, but I think it's better for them to get so sorry, but we're killing you. But we'd love to bring you back as a white, our word for zombies in the show, and he was in like Ibiza or somewhere. Yeah. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah. And we said, and you're gonna be naked the whole season. You're gonna be like a naked white because your clothes get. And there's like just slightly longer clothes.
He refused to be moved. I think probably because of whatever he was doing in Ibiza. We didn't catch him in a state where he was going to be shocked by anything. Yeah. He just kept going more and more ridiculous until finally he realized we were kidding.
Yeah. The red light is on. I think that means we're being thrown out of here.
So the number's moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah, we've gone into minus. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, David.
Maisie claims she knows the lyrics to Wrecking Ball. We clawed, we chained our hearts in vain, we jumped, never asking why. Top 10 most annoying things ever. Bloopers.
Lastly, for Richard and Michelle, do you anticipate being able to watch the show now that you're no longer a part of it, or is it too sensitive?
I'm so excited about watching the show.
Absolutely.
I mean, I love the show. I love being a viewer of the show, and there's so much of it that, you know, you read in the scripts, but you don't get to see. And now, I don't know anything that's coming, you know, so
because we haven't read the scripts, so we'll be like the nerds on the internet going, no offense to the nerds on the internet.
I just wanted you to let me in. I guess I should have let you in.
Happy shot.
Thanks.
It's not what it looks like.
And I shouldn't really be saying this, but I kind of went into the first audition unprepared. I was unaware of the show. I hadn't watched the first season. I'd kind of just heard from guy friends who'd been watching it that, you know, that it's amazing. So it was all kind of word of mouth. And I didn't realise the pressure. And had I realised the pressure, I don't think I would have been able to land the job in the first place. So kind of I'm happy that I was naive for the first round of the audition.
I should have bought you flowers. I know you had. Should have given all my hours when I had. I came into the bathroom to find this. Well, clearly I'm interrupting something. Okay, go. I have one question. Where's my leg? Na 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 na. Batman. They dead. Like so dead. Like OMG dead. My mother and brother are dead.
We're here to talk about Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Exactly. All nice and dramatic.
Game of Thrones.
Are we looking forward to much more dramatic moments in the new season for you?
But yes. I am Sparta!